Hey, fifth grade. Today, for our poetry lesson, we're continuing in the theme of growing up, and we're going to read a poem by William Stafford entitled 15. The first time I read this poem, I can still remember the feeling of excitement as I imagined myself as the kid in the poem. He finds a motorcycle and dreams about taking off on it into the rest of his life until, well, you'll see. William Stafford often tells stories or uses poems to find the meanings in events. I think that this is one of his best. Follow along with me as I read. 15. South of the bridge on 17th, I found back of the willows one summer day a motorcycle with engine running as it lay on its side ticking over slowly in the high grass. I was 15. I admired all that pulsating gleam, the shiny flanks, the demure headlights fringed where it lay. I led it gently to the road and stood with that companion, ready and friendly. I was 15. We could find the end of the road, meet the sky out on 17th. I thought about hills and patting the handle got back a confident opinion. On the bridge we indulged a forward feeling, a tremble. I was 15. Thinking back farther in the grass, I found the owner, just coming to, where he had flipped over the rail. He had blood on his hand and was pale. I helped him walk to his machine. He ran his hand over it, called me a good man, roared away. I stood there, 15. So this poem is about a boy who happens upon a motorcycle wreck, essentially. The first thing that he finds is the motorcycle alongside the road in the grass, tipped on its side, still running. Okay. And when he comes up on this motorcycle, he's kind of in awe of it. It says, I admired all that pulsating gleam. Pulsating is the word that he's using to show you that it's still running, that it's still moving. Okay. The shiny flanks, it's not moving on the road, but like the engine's running, and so it's still kind of pulsating like that because of the engine still running. Fringed where it lay, I led it gently to the road and stood with that companion ready and friendly. So he tips the motorcycle back up and walks it to the road. And it's at the end of this stanza that things kind of start to get into the fantasy world, because what he's doing here is pretending that this is his motorcycle and that this is his trusty steed. That's what heroes often refer to their horse as, or their mode of transportation. Okay, and so he's animating the motorcycle here. Then in this stanza where it says, we could find the end of the road, meet the sky out on 17th, I thought about hills and patting the handle got back a confident opinion. On the bridge we indulged a forward feeling, a tremble. I was 15. This stanza right here, it's complete fantasy. He's actually standing along the road with the motorcycle propped up, but his mind has now taken him to be actually on the motorcycle on the open road. And so he's fantasizing about just taking off on this motorcycle and going off on these adventures. The part on adventures that he's dreaming about, we don't know what they are. The part where it says, I thought about hills and patting the handle got back a confident opinion. So on motorcycles, at least back when this was written, when you would to accelerate, you would have to twist the handle. That was where the throttle of the motorcycle was, on the handlebars. And so that's what's happening here. He's revving the engine. He pats the handle and the engine revs. And so that's what he means by getting back a confident opinion. And then it says on the bridge, we indulged a forward feeling, a tremble. I was 15. This is where the fantasy ends because he's not actually 16. He cannot drive this motorcycle, nor is it his motorcycle. So I was 15 is significant. And you guys have probably already noticed that the title is 15. And then he ends every single stanza with I was 15, except for the last, because that's when he breaks out of his fantasy. And this is the part where the owner of the motorcycle makes his appearance. Thinking back farther in the grass, I found the owner just coming to. Where he had flipped over the rail, he had blood on his hand, was pale. I helped him walk back to his machine. He ran his hand over it, called me a good man, and roared away. So the person that was driving the motorcycle that had wrecked was hurt, but not so badly hurt that they couldn't walk or get back on the motorcycle. So he comes walking up. He calls him a good man because he had set up the motorcycle and everything was okay. So he appreciates him not taking off with it. And then even though this stanza doesn't end with I was 15, he creates the last stanza as one line here. I stood there 15. So we've got some repetition throughout the poem to drive home the point that he's not old enough to drive or take off on this motorcycle, but he fantasizes about doing so. But it's not possible for it to become a reality for him because he's 15 and not 16. We also call this echo structure when something is introduced at the very beginning of the poem and then it's echoed again in the end. It's not word for word, but it's close enough. So the title is 15 and then he ends, his conclusion is I stood there 15. So not quite old enough to drive or ride a motorcycle. Last thing I think that I want to talk to you guys about is just the form that William Stafford created. We have 5-line stanzas here in every stanza except for, of course, the last. Okay? So today when you go into this poem, what I'm looking for here is comment on the words and lines that you like. And please be as specific as you possibly can be here. Don't just say, I like this. Tell me exactly why you like this. Some of the best poems about growing up tell stories, not about triumphs, but about longings. I can remember myself at your age longing to be able to drive. What are your longings? These are poems too. Love you guys and miss you. Please let me know if you need any help or have any questions. I can't wait to see you soon.